Hey there, I'm Lee Rowley, and this is Lee After Dark. Why? Because there's more to being a business leader than just business. Each episode, one brave entrepreneur ejects the elevator pitch and just gets real. Today, I am so happy to welcome Adrian Miller. Adrian, how are you today?
I am very, very fine today. Really in good mood.
Wonderful. Well, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that because our people are going to be expecting some, pizzazz and what have. I'm sure that, we have that to bring. So the rules of this show are simple. For the next 20 minutes, you can talk about anything under the sun you want except for your business. After that, you get 5 minutes to talk about the usual stuff, your business, where people can contact you, who you're looking for, where can people continue bribes, all that stuff. We just do that because people want to see the people behind the businesses. So are you ready to play
Totally.
Lee After Dark?
100%. It feels like Mission Impossible.
Beautiful. Well,
You know,
I think we'll get through it. So I'm going to go ahead and click the timer start to keep us honest. And as the question always is, what the heck do you want to get into for the next 20 minutes?
okay. So I knew this was the premise of the show, and I was thinking how excited I am because most of the podcasts these days are circling around seemingly endlessly about what it is you do.
Hmm.
And for the longest time, when people would ask me whether I was at a networking event or a business conference or anything like that, what do you do? And I would start rambling off. I'd go, well, I really travel a huge amount. I love to read. I'm kind of a hockey mom, even though I don't necessarily follow sports all that way. I'm not a gym rat, but I do work out quite a lot. I consider myself a really good human, and that I take care of people and I'm kind of a nurturer by nature. And by then they're staring at me with their and they're saying, what the fuck are you talking about? I wanted to know what you do. And then I look at them and I call them on it. And I go, oh, I think you're surprised by my reply. Yeah, yeah, what do you do? I go, well, is that really all you care about? That one sentence. Here's my business card. It has the little tagline.
Hmm.
But if you really want to have just like a 5 minute interchange, all that other stuff is so much more interesting. Frankly, gives the texture and soul of what I do.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, without all those other things, I would be doing what I do differently, completely differently. Um,
Exactly.
and then people all of a sudden it kind of opens their eyes, it's like who you are, what gets you excited, what's your passion, what are the sidebars to your life, okay, are contributing to quote what you do, which to me is one of the most awkward questions you can ask someone.
Hmm.
It and especially, oh my gosh, if you're in an event or you're at a party, forget about a work thing, and hey, so what do you do? So now you've got the person who just got laid off, the person who's in a terrible, like they hate what they do. They don't even want to tell you because it makes them want to vomit in their mouth, and they want to do something else. But you've pigeonholed them into saying, well, what do you do? And now, because they said that, and remember, they hate it or they just got fired from it, now you're going to keep talking about it because you haven't talked about anything else. So now you're going to actually ask some questions about the thing they hate to do or they got fired from.
Right.
So I scrapped that answer and stopped asking that question a real long time ago when I think it was pretty out of vogue because people looked at me and like, before we had huge amount of coaches out there that maybe are saying the same thing. I want to go on record that I was friggin' first.
That's
Thank
You
you.
heard it here.
That so because it's such a limiting question, and again I used to just be more glib. Well, what do I do? Well, do you want to know what I do at 6 a.m., 7 p.m.? I'm
Hmm.
eating sometime. I'm like going to the bathroom, taking a shower. I don't know. What do you really want to hear from me? So really, I'd say that one of the major things that feeds everything else, including what I do for work, but all other facets of my life, is really an innate love of travel, which COVID, of course, has fucked up totally. And I'm not one of those like I don't care. I'm throwing a band into the wind and I'm just getting on a plane anyway. I don't need a mask and I'm just going.
Yeah.
No, it's not me. You'll always find me in the seat these days. This is where I live. But when we are not in a pandemic, I try to have that be an integral part of my life, and has been an integral part of my life in points of time where people said, oh my God, you're going to have to stop doing what you love. Meaning I had children. I said, no, they're portable for a very long time. They're really portable. You can practically put them in your carry-on. And I never stopped. 6 weeks in, we were on an airplane going overseas. And I remember saying to my doctor, pediatrician, is it okay for me to take him? Like, we weren't going to a country where we had to have the full line of malaria shots and all that. We were going to Europe. I think that first trip was London because that wasn't so far. And the doctor just looked at me and he went, it's really not okay unless you take me, as a joke. And then I knew he was the right pediatrician for
That's
me.
Nice. Very good.
He validated my thinking, and he also showed a sense of humor. So without missing a beat. So I know there's a lot of, and I have major props to the people these days who are juggling family and work at home and being a teacher and being an employee, and they don't have their own company. So they're being an employee, which is like hard because we have our own companies. We kind of call the shots, right? I mean, we have clients and stuff, but fuck it. If you want to do what you have to do at 7:00 at night, you don't have some boss saying to you, no, I want to see you here, online. I have to know you're working.
Right.
People who are juggling being an employee, being a teacher these days, being a parent, being everything else, all from their whatever little corner they've carved out in their house or apartment or something like that. So there's been a ton of conversation, much more so than at any point in time, about integrating different facets of your life, right? And that work-life integration was something I thought was really important right from the get-go. And it was even before children, because you're still a person, you still have other stuff going on. So it's like, how do you integrate and make your life successful for you? Because you're not making it successful for anyone else. You don't really, that's not in the cards. Successful for you, where you can indulge and get satisfaction from all those different components. And how do you work it out? Because we all get the same amount of hours a day. So how do you work? And people I know say to me a lot, I don't know how you do what you do. I said, do you want to find out? I'm happy to tell you. I don't know how Elon Musk does what he does. Well, I think he probably has 300 helpers. And I don't know how Angelina Jolie has 7 kids, because she has 9 nannies. But so I'm just like a regular old person who doesn't have any of those, never did, etc. So how do you do what you do? But how I do what I do works for me.
Right.
It doesn't work for other people. And that's fine, because life's too short for you to try to do it the way someone else does it and to be miserable.
Absolutely correct. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you can force yourself into so many people do force themselves into the box, right? The prescribed box that they were probably told they should be in when they were quite young, and stay in there until such time as they have to break out, and maybe some circumstance like now was caused a lot of people, I think, to rethink their existence. The job or company they have no longer exists, and the whole model of it isn't going to be around. It's changed.
Right.
So, okay, now I just got to figure out what's my new model, where they live. Maybe it's just so many changes. This is just I don't know. I think while this was very, very traumatic, et cetera, I think from a sociological point of view, moving forward the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years and seeing where we are, it's going to be fascinating. Fascinating. I was a sociology major in college.
There we go. Okay.
I never thought I'd mention that again. But here
and
it
suddenly is. It's completely relevant.
Suddenly it's relevant.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's I'm kind of at peace with what I do. I know it's almost out of vogue. I was on a podcast and I said that I was on a panel, and it was like people go, and I don't know if they thought I was going to start waxing very in a more spiritual way than they were prepared to hear. And I was going to talk about putting my hands above you and feeling the energy. Not me at all. But I'm very quick and keen to own what I do. And if I fuck up, I own it. I own it. I did it. I rarely do anything that's irrevocable. And so I can re-engineer it. I can fix it. So I'm kind of at peace with where I'm at. And that seems to be out of vogue right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because other people, if you are at peace with where you are, then that can make other people who are not uncomfortable. It's imposing, it's intimidating when you're willing to stay up and say, you know what, my life doesn't suck so bad. I've kind of got it together. I mean, I'm not going to tell you it works for anybody else, but I've kind of got it together here. I got to tell you, my favorite answer ever to the "what do you do" question came from Jim Morrison of the Doors way back when.
Okay, what do you think?
He said, "I'm Jim." And that was it, man. What do you do? I'm Jim. Yep. And I mean, to me, that we should say it all, really. I mean, it doesn't, but I'm speaking facetiously, but really it is. It's just you're being uniquely you. And, anybody who hates copywriters, wouldn't take, say, if I say, hey, I'm a copywriter, then, you won't get past that if you hate copywriters, which I don't blame you, but we're jerks, scalawags, scoundrels, thieves. No,
buy things we don't want, feed the consumer machine.
Yeah, that's what we do. We're the lowest guy. We're the lowest kind of thing. No, it's
filled with crap here I don't need.
Yeah, but I mean, that may be how I earn money, but all of those other things that I am feed into that, and as you said, the same for what you do, which we'll learn about here in a bit. I like how we've just been dancing along the line the whole way. We're just kind of like, yeah, we're kind of talking about business, but I like riding the line like that. So, traveling, as you say, is just pretty much screwed. You've got a wonderful array of photos behind you. Favorite travel story?
Oh, I'm so glad you said story and not place, because I seriously, I'm one of those people. I want to go there and eat the food and be with people and not go to, I'll go to the sites and stuff, but I'll get through them really quickly. And then I just want to be hanging out where the people who actually live there hang out. And there's nothing better than me than sitting in some kind of coffee cafe kind of place and just sitting there and listening and watching and striking up a conversation if I can manage to, if they speak English, because I don't really speak anything else, or sitting in a park on a bench with locals go and not just tourists go, that kind of stuff. Because I'm there to kind of absorb the culture, the sights, the sounds, the people, and not and not have my American flag on my forehead. And, like I'm a tourist and I want to eat in the Applebee's that's in the city because the other food makes me scared. Travel story. I'm thinking one of my favorite, and it's just because it's so remarkable. I hadn't been there before. Last year I was in Japan. And have you been?
To Japan? No.
Yeah. So now Tokyo is an amazing, freaking enormous city. I'm in New York, and New York City is a pretty big city, and I grew up here, and I'm used to big cities and all that stuff. And Tokyo is like, holy shit, this is a big city, and we have big, big transportation hubs too in Manhattan. Each one, they have 5 of them, and each one of them is like 3 times the size of ours. Now, here's what's amazing. I have videos of it actually. You could eat off the floor and have no fear of having any dirt. Their floor in their major transportation hub is cleaner than my dishes that come out of the dishwasher. Their public bathrooms in a place that's so skeevy. I mean, the idea of going in, well, the place wasn't skeevy, that's what I mean. In a gas station, in a convenience store,
Okay.
looked like everybody's cleaning service had come in and spent an hour. They have fresh flowers there. It's just so the reason why there's no dirt anywhere and no litter is because if you drop something on the ground, first of all, you'd be mortified. You would be crawling around on your hands and knees to pick it up because you would be littering, and I'm your fellow human, and you don't want to put your shit in front of impinge on me. But if for chance, and I saw this happen, I was sitting on a bench in one of those parks with all the people bustling around, and a guy, you ever try to open that little bag of peanuts, maybe in an airplane, and you can't,
Right, yeah.
And it flies everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's made to do that. I'm
Yes.
sure there's a candid camera watching us, everybody who opens that bag, because those peanuts always fly. So his peanuts flew all over. In a nanosecond, there were 10 people who had been walking by, who had stopped and were helping him find every possible little peanut, little teeny tiny peanut that might have rolled under a bench. I mean, it was like the cleanup crew for a radioactive site.
And this is in Tokyo.
This is in Tokyo, right? Not in a little town,
Wow.
not in a little suburb in the middle of the city. So masks, we're having a big mask war here, and I don't have to get political at all.
Nope.
You wear it, you don't wear it, fine. In Tokyo, way before COVID, two out of 5 people have a mask on all the time on the subway and in the street. Why? They have allergies, and it causes them to sneeze or cough. They don't want to sneeze or cough by their fellow humans. They think they're getting a cold, or they're living with someone who has a cold, or they work with someone who has a cold, and they may be contagious, so they wear a mask. It's all for other people. They are an other-centric type of culture, and we are independent cowboys, and so we're not thinking of our others too very much.
Me first.
So, me first, me second, me third, and maybe if you're crawling along on crutches and in a wheelchair, I might let you get in line 4th behind me, but don't think you're getting ahead of me, even if you can't stand and you're 97 years old. In Tokyo, Asia, the elders, I mean, those are revered people. And here, you have to fight for the crumbs.
A nuisance.
Exactly.
To a lot of our culture. I mean, and that's scary because we have nearly 100 million baby boomers who are retiring, and I'm the next generation behind.
Yeah, the goal is to be able to live, and to be respected and honored as you should be respecting and honoring people at all stages, and not just be respecting and honoring the people who make the most money, who have the media recognition for maybe something that isn't even such a great thing to be recognized for. Again, people who were famous for being famous, but you never really knew what they did. A lot of celebrities, they're really famous. What is it they do exactly? I always thought that about Paris Hilton. I know her time came and went already, but
Mhm.
at one point in time, Paris Hilton was all over the media, and I never
Mhm.
knew what she did other than she had Hilton as a last name, and we stayed in her hotels. But what did she do to get all that press? Not much. So
It's a tremendous waste, but but it continues to happen because there are people who have an insatiable appetite for it for whatever reason. And we don't have time to go into that right now, but I mean, it's if we look at Netflix, I mean, it's I hear all the time, oh, there's nothing to watch, and there's like 9,000 things to choose from on Netflix. And what people really mean is, not there's nothing to watch. It's just everything's the same old because it's user data driven content, and that's what people want. People want Honey Boo Boo. I mean, people want to
yeah,
watch stories about people who are 600 pounds just because they're 600 pounds, and it makes them feel better about themselves because they're only 500 pounds.
that's right. Well, it's always there's somebody worse than me, and
Right.
well, there's a lot of people who, as long as there's somebody in a rung lower, then it's okay. I'm a rung up,
Yeah.
so it's very sad. It's
Yeah, it
really
is. I mean, but they like to watch people being train wrecks, and I think it's more fun to be a train wreck personally.
I have to tell you. So I confession.
All right,
I
here we
um,
go.
I went. I think it's good dial flipping, and it was I don't remember the station. Anyway, it was the 600-pound person, and I hit on it for, I don't think it was more than a few minutes. First of all, it got me really sad. It really did. And I couldn't juxtapose it with, oh, but he's probably making a lot of money from this or thing. It just got me very sad. And then it got me a little mad because we've allowed this to happen. It's like we could put him on a some kind of bariatric surgery and diet or something like that, but we've made it a star. We've made somebody with a very unhealthy existence, really unhealthy, life shortening existence. And
Mhm.
we're watching. That's exactly what we're doing. We're watching. You can have a show of people shooting up with opioids,
Mhm.
and we're watching. So I couldn't get behind really feeling better, because it made me feel sad, mad at the same time, and those were two emotions as opposed to just feeling better. So I just moved right on, and and found something else on Netflix or whatever it was on. But so I still try to do a little bit of travel these COVID days, but only obviously by car.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, a lot, here on the Northeast, we've gotten proprietary about our borders, our state
That's an
line.
excellent way of putting it. I like that.
I don't know if we're going to
Proprietary.
build a wall or what, but
Hmm.
I went to Massachusetts.
Oh.
And yeah, so if you just, you can go to museums, they're 25% occupancy, make a reservation, all that. But if you're coming from out of state, first of all, you have to show proof. You have to show a COVID test, a negative COVID test, or somehow prove you've quarantined for 2 weeks. So we can't prove any of that. Okay, you can, yes, of course you can show your COVID test, but you can fly into New York and say you're going to quarantine and go straight to somewhere and not quarantine at all.
Right.
Someone I know just went to Singapore. In Singapore, when you land, you were taken to a hotel designated for travelers who are coming in to the city and country, and you are required to be there 14 days. They bring your meals to you. There's a tracker on your phone, and you have to have your phone with you at all times. And 14 days later, oh, and they test you 3 times during your 14-day period, to make sure that you are in fact COVID free. At the end of the 14 days, you're allowed out. They have like 6 cases of COVID in Singapore. I think that's about the number.
Wow.
They've kind of gone back to normal life, as has China. Totalitarian places are all like they're living their lives again, because when they locked down, they really meant locking down.
Mhm.
And here we have lockdowns, but we're given the key. So I'm told that if I come back to New York from wherever, I have to quarantine for 14 days, but no one knows. So it's all left to me to decide if I'm going to do the right thing. If you agree with that at all, do the right, and that's the other thing, do the right thing or not. So I don't know, it's interesting when you travel around in all these countries to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what travel does. It lets you live that life for a little bit, if you choose to live it, and not stay at a hotel that's filled with people just like you, and eat in restaurants with people just like you,
Mhm.
and only go to tourist sites.
Right. Yeah. You can get your picture taken in front of the Acropolis or whatever. Yeah. Which I've done, but
And those, they're tourist sites for a reason. There is cultural worth to all of them.
Mhm.
So go and do it, and then be done with that. And don't make it your whole trip, or make it your whole trip, but go back. Make sure you go back and do it the other way.
Absolutely. So, that was the thing. The Acropolis is something that I think that if there hadn't have been, 5,000 other people, maybe I could have appreciated the historical significance and kind of soaked it in a little more. But it's kind of hard when you got people throwing cigarette butts and,
Yes.
they're just everywhere you go, there's just tourists getting in your way and things like that. It impairs what you came there for. But, meeting the
100,
locals is, yeah.
100.
One thing before we wrap up, I really am loving the trend of city tours on YouTube, where just people are just taking a camera and they're just going out and or drones. I mean, obviously being able to see with drones, I get to see things that I would never, ever, ever otherwise be able to get to see in my life.
Yep.
And so I think we have to appreciate that, although this is a horrible pandemic, that the technology has supported us going on living in sometimes in ways that we weren't able to before. So
Completely agree with you on that. So I live in New York. I'm a big theater goer. Live theater is also really high up on my things that I'm missing a lot. But they have a lot of theatrical performances on TV, things I might not have seen before because tickets are so expensive that, maybe it wasn't high on my list, and so I wouldn't go to see it. Convenience sake, there's only so many nights a week you can go to the theater, one, because it's too expensive, and two, you have other things to do and you might get tired or whatever. There you are on your sofa. It's not live theater, but it's a pretty darn good way to, especially for people who don't live in a major city that has major theater. Wow, it's an awesome opportunity. That was never available. So
yeah.
they had Hamilton. Okay, they had
Yeah.
Hamilton on TV in July, and for everybody who never got to see Hamilton, or because they refused to spend thousands of dollars for a ticket, or they just weren't in New York, or they were okay spending thousands of tickets, they still had to wait 3 years. That was their opportunity. And I did see Hamilton in the theater, and I need to tell you, I saw it for $150 because the day before it opened to those amazing reviews, that's when I saw it.
Okay.
A little bit of forewarning there that it was going to be
Nice.
a blowout. So, but seeing it on TV was awesome. It just was it was a different experience. I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. So that's what happened with, if you can put a list of the things that positively changed in your life, where you were exposed to different or new things, relationships that may be formed. You got to pull that out. Otherwise, you'll just, keep falling back on all the gloom and doom that we're still living through.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, we are going to have to wrap this up here. We've gone past our 20 minutes and then some. So what this tells me is that we're going to bring you back for another episode because, obviously we could go on about this forever, but I want to be respectful of your time. Make sure you have time to tell us about what you do. See what I did there. But before we get into all that, do you have any final thoughts on just the normal stuff?
No, I think people need to, I love the question, what do you do? I like, I'm Jim. I'm thinking I'm going to start doing, I'm Adrian. I think people need to just really own the fact that we get this one go round and to milk it, okay, to indulge it, to see how you can make yourself and others feel good, how you can how you derive meaning from your life, how you can benefit other people, whatever it may be, but not keep putting off and putting off and putting off the things that they might think are going to be really fun or important for them to do, to the point where it's too late to do it and find out.
Right.
You don't, there's probably a million cliches you don't want to have die with regrets. And you don't want to, it's not, forget to die. You don't want to pass the age where you can't do it anymore. I don't believe, you could do anything anytime in your life. No. There's absolutely things I cannot physically do. Unless I want to train, 20 hours a day or something like that. So if I really did want to do that when I was 25 years old, I should have fucking done
it. Right.
And I didn't. So.
Love it.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Well, we have successfully completed the Lee After Dark 20-minute not talking about your business challenge. So invisible confetti rains from the sky and all that good stuff. I need my soundboard. I keep saying I'm going to set up my soundboard, but we moved a couple months ago and I've got all the effects with the applause and the like that. But, so I'll have it. Yeah, we'll do it the old fashioned way.
Adrian.
But yes. So because I am a man of my word, I want to make sure you have up to 5 minutes to talk about your business, where we can find out more about you, or connect with you, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Or is yours.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I have 4 businesses. They are all really focused on one core issue that people in business have. It's how to get more clients. Okay. Maybe the real thing is how to make more money, or maybe it's how to get more good clients, but it's, where I'm going with this. That's basically what I do. So I'm a sales consultant and trainer. I've done that for a zillion years. I write content, not as well as Lee. Every time I see his stuff, I go, shit, I wish I wrote that. Damn. Can I copy that? Just going to take it and say, this was written by Lee, but I'm signing my name to it anyway.
There you go.
But I do write content. I run an integrated marketing company because words do have to have pictures with them at some point. So I work with a couple partners in that, and I run a networking community. So you can see where they all kind of lead to the same thing. Best place to find me is to actually send me an email, because when I reply to an email, all my links will be there. My phone number will be there and all the rest of that stuff. And that's a very simple email. It's amiller@adrianmiller.com. And Adrian is spelled like the girl in Rocky, Adrian. There's so many ways to spell Adrian. And I wonder if my parents knew that for my entire life, I was going to say my name and then have to spell it. Possibly not. I don't think they would have done that to me, but that's where you can find me. I work by myself and have for the sales consulting and training, and I have a couple of partners in my other companies. We really do offer the whole plethora of services that large marketing and advertising agencies provide, but scaled for small to mid-sized companies. And that's the truth. They really are scaled in terms of how we offer the services, and absolutely scaled in terms of budgets. And the fact that we're intimately involved with each other, so we speak to each other. So you don't have content that absolutely bears no relation to the graphic design. Sometimes you read something and it has a picture and you go, what's that have to do with anything? Why is that there? You can't even think that it was a real creative idea. It just makes no sense. So the integration of our practice areas and the closeness within which we work is a real value add for our clients. Plus, most importantly, we are freaking fun. We have a great time at what we do. We really like what we do. And because we like what we do, we're going to work our asses off to make sure we do a good job, because working is stuff that we like to do. So I'm not like sitting here saying, I can't wait to get out of my office. I'm going to give a not really give 100% because I can't wait to get out of here. We really like what we do, and we will work until we get it so you like what we did for you. That's it.
Fantastic. Real quick, what's your favorite client success story?
Oh, my favorite client success story is calling a decision maker at a very large company. He was a regional president, and calling him 36 times before he took the meeting.
Ooh,
Not every
36.
day. Yes, I remember, of course. How could you forget that?
Right.
Not every day. I'm not a stalker. I didn't say I know where you live. I will be painting things on your garage door. I didn't, but it was staying on the grid, staying in touch is a really critical part of sales, touch point management. I'm really, really good at that. Anyway, on the 36th call, I did all the things, right? I Googled, I knew stuff. I talked about it. I sent email, I integrated it. I timed it. I asked for other decision makers. I know all the stuff I trained. But I called and he picked up the phone. And the worst thing you can do when you're trying to reach someone and then they pick up the phone, you go, oh, I didn't. Whoa, I can't believe you picked up the phone. So instead of saying that, he picked up his phone and, hi, Lee, this is Adrian Miller. I'm pretty sure you know my name by now. And the reason, and he just cut me and he said, yes, I want you to come in on Tuesday at 10. I said, I'll be there. And that was that.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
You guys remember that, people. Please. But I get people in copywriting. I get copywriters who have gone 2 years without any clients. And I'm like, what the f are you doing? Well, nobody wants to hire me. Have you asked? Once. Not even 36 times, but once. Come on now.
So yeah, writers, writers, that sales instinct, that ability to be persistent and tenacious is not hardwired for a lot of people. And for people in creative, very often it's a skill that they have to work so hard to acquire. And it's painful. It would be like me having to do my own accounting.
Yeah. So do you think the creatives should have their own sales teams?
I think creatives absolutely could benefit from thinking about how they could have someone do some of the business development, get them appointments and get them, FaceTime with someone and getting to at least bring them to the next conversational level. Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Also creatives networking. Oh, sometimes it's like a deer in the headlights, those poor babies. My name is, I'm a copywriter. It's like, it really, my heart pounds for them. Don't do it. Hire someone to do your networking. It'll be so much better.
Awesome. So much better. All right. Well, we're in danger of giving away too much good information here, so I'm gonna have to block this down so we have something for next time. I'm kidding. All right, well, we are out of time, as I say. So, any parting thoughts before I do my little outro?
Nope, reach out to me if you have a question, even if you just want to say hi and ask me about Tokyo or any other city. And thank you, Lee.
Well, thank you. We will have the email address, and it's okay if I'll put your other information in the show notes so that when people watch this, they can get in contact with you directly. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Groovy. All right. Well, listen, we are out of time, but if you love what you saw and think it's better than the rest of the dreck out there, then subscribe to my YouTube channel at leeafterdark.com. And we're also on all the normal podcast channels, Anchor FM, Google Play, Google Podcast, Apple, Pocket Cast, Pocket Rockets. I don't know. Wherever there's podcasts, we're there. So make sure you subscribe to that stuff too, and go connect with Adrian, because we got to get out of here. Until next time, be present and be well.
Thank you. That was fun.